Hello everyone, my name is Monday and today I'm speaking a very cheesy British accent because I missed Saturday's cheesy accent videos. As promised, today's video will be a follow-up question to last week's question, but only kind of sort of, because they were related, but really it's not a follow-up question, it's just a related question. Is it wrong to be wrong? God, the infinite stupidities of the English language. What I mean by that is it morally wrong to be factually incorrect about something? That sounded Scottish. This relates to ignorance only in that the cause of being wrong about something, about a fact, is because you don't know it, or you're ignorant of that fact. First of all, I think a definition of ignorance is in order. So we'll say ignorance is the state of not knowing something. I think incorrect is kind of self-explanatory. The state of being morally wrong is kind of a more ambiguous one, and one which I will not attempt to define in such a short video as this. I'll just be functioning under certain assumptions, and I think a lot of you will have those same assumptions. There's always something that happens in my life that prompts me to ask these questions, and the one that prompted me to ask this question was when I was giving somebody directions, and I told them that that they needed to get off the highway at exit 44, I believe. And I think the actual exit was closer to number 28. Was me being wrong about the facts? Was that lying? When I told them that it was at exit 44, was that a lie? It was not the truth. The truth is that it was closer to 28 or something like that. I misinformed them. I, to some extent, did deceive them, or they were deceived. Not intentionally, but they were deceived. They may not have been deceived because, you know, they could have read the highway signs and gotten off on the right way. But the point is that I gave them bad directions. I think it's clear that ignorance as a state of being is not naturally or is not automatically a morally wrong state. Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden had not eaten of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. They were ignorant of the knowledge of good and evil. And they lived in a state of perfection. Clearly, ignorance as a state of being is not inherently evil. But the projection of that ignorance, I think, could be not evil, but false. Just as a bit of meta-analysis of this question, I have on my sticky note, if right equals... If wrong equals, I write in pseudocode. It's just the way I do things. So, okay, we'll take a statement. The statement is, the projection of ignorance is morally neutral. Now, if we are right, if that is true, and we are right to believe that, then we live out our lives. Sometimes we get things wrong, but it's not a big deal to us, because it's morally neutral. If we're wrong, though, if the projection of ignorance is not morally neutral and is inherently bad, that means that not only do our actions that we live out of getting things wrong, not only are those things bad, but our entire philosophy, that of believing that the projection of ignorance is morally neutral, was also wrong. So we've got, like, double wrongness piled high, and, like, gah! So perhaps it's safest to function under the assumption that factual incorrectness is morally wrong. But I don't think it is. But I could be wrong, and then that would be terrible. Honestly, if there is a moral obligation tied to being factually correct in everything you say, I think there's quite an easy way of getting around it, and that is to say, I think, for absolutely everything. Because that's the truth. To say, I think this is a sticky note is 100% true, because I do think this is a sticky note. If you couldn't see this, and all you saw was this glowing white square, you could say, I think that's a piece of reflective fabric, and be true. It would be a true statement if you said, I think this is a piece of reflective fabric, if you thought this was a piece of reflective fabric. In essence, if you say, I think, before saying anything you think, it's automatically true. Whether you're right or wrong to think it doesn't have anything to do with it. I think the projection of ignorance is morally neutral is a true statement. The projection of ignorance is morally neutral. Could be a true or false statement. I don't know. I'm ignorant. What else did I have written on my sticky note? I covered everything. I forgot to say goodbye in the last clip, so cheerio, toodle pip, whatever the British say. They probably just say goodbye. Honestly, goodbye.